Welcome, students, to your Human and Social Biology class. I am your teacher, Mr. Heron. Today we'll be looking at diffusion, osmosis, and active transport. Our objectives are: what is diffusion, what is osmosis, and what is active transport. Now, diffusion is the movement of molecules or ions from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration along a concentration gradient. Now, I've highlighted some words that we have to pay close attention to. So, diffusion is the movement of molecules or ions from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration along a concentration gradient. Now, I'll be doing a simple illustration that will help to clarify or make aware what diffusion is. All right? So let's say we have a room. Now, in one corner of the room, we're going to spray our favorite cologne. And that's our cologne. So we're going to spray our cologne, right? Now these red dots will illustrate or represent what the molecules would look like. Now, this area is called the area of high concentration. This is where you spray the cologne. Now, what do you think will happen after some time? That's right. The molecules or ions will continue to spread out in the room until all the room is filled with the smell of your favorite cologne or the molecules from the cologne. Now, this is the gradient, the concentration gradient. So, area of high concentration, area of low concentration. And pretty soon, your entire room is smelling like your favorite cologne or perfume. Now, it's important to note that diffusion can take place in a gas, in air, or it can take place in liquid, like water. All right? So recapping, diffusion is the movement of molecules or ions from an area of high concentration, the place where you spray the cologne or perfume, to an area of low concentration, parts of the room that did not have the smell of the cologne, along a concentration gradient. Next, we're going to be looking at osmosis. Osmosis is the diffusion of water molecules. Let me backtrack. Osmosis is the diffusion of water molecule. So osmosis is a form of diffusion. Do not say that diffusion is a form of osmosis. That would be wrong, right? So osmosis is the diffusion of water molecules. So osmosis must take place in water. Osmosis is the diffusion of water molecules from an area with low concentration of solute, which is the dilute solution, to an area with a high concentration of solute, a more concentrated solution, across a partially permeable membrane. Now, if we go back to what we learned about plant cells, we remember that the cell membrane is semi or partially permeable, which means that it allows some substances like water to pass through. However, it will not allow everything to pass through. So that's what partially or semi-permeable mean. All right? So let's do a simple illustration. Osmosis. I'm going to start out by drawing the semi-permeable membrane. All right. Now the purpose, all intent and purpose of the spaces is to illustrate what the semi-permeable would look like. All right. So on this side, let me use black. So these tiny circles will represent the area of low concentration or the diluted solution. And on this side will represent the area of higher concentration or the more concentrated solution. So let's say, for example, we have water on this side. So these tiny circles will represent water molecules. So water molecules. And this will represent the semi-permeable membrane. So let's label that. Semi or partially permeable membrane. All right? Now, the water molecules will be moving across the semi-permeable membrane. Now, what will happen is eventually the water molecules will move across the semi-permeable membrane until all it's evenly distributed or we have equilibrium. So in recapping, osmosis is the diffusion of water molecules or ions from an area of low concentration or solute, which is a dilute solution, to an area with higher concentration of solute or a more concentrated solution across a semi-permeable membrane. Next, we're going to be looking at active transport. Active transport is the movement of molecules or ions in or out of a cell through the cell membrane against a concentration gradient using energy during respiration. Now, it's important to note that diffusion and osmosis, the movement of molecules are random. As a result, no energy is needed. However, for active transport, the molecules or ions are moving against the concentration gradient. As a result, it needs energy, right? So, active transport is the movement of molecules or ions in or out of a cell through the cell membrane against a concentration gradient using energy during respiration. Thanks for joining, and I hope you learned something.